let's say you do a master's in educational psychology, master's in clinical psychology. When you go to graduate, the chancellor of that university, the person who put a cap on top of you or endorse or authorize to say, I confirm that you have a degree, a master's in psychology, master's in educational, that person does not make you a psychologist. They just confer to you. They just confirm and honor that you have qualified and you have got a degree in psychology, whether clinical, whether educational, whether counseling, but they don't confer that you are a psychologist. For you to become a psychologist, that designation, that title, you get it from the Health Professions Council. Hi there, I welcome you to this Psychology 101 series. I've started this series in order to equip the followers of this channel with information that pertains to the profession of psychology. I've been getting a lot of questions, people asking me about questions that pertains to the profession. And I thought these videos will be helpful in helping you gain more understanding of the psychology profession, but also the profession in general, as I touch on other aspects that might not relate directly to the profession. So if you have not seen our videos on the Psychology Profession 101, you can identify them on the channel by going to the playlist and check Psychology 101 series, or you can also recognize them by the blue thumbnail written Psychology 101 series, and choose any topic that is relevant to you. In this video in particular, I want to address the question regarding the Health Professions Council of South Africa and other professional bodies. I get a lot of questions, people asking me about other professional bodies and how do they relate to the Health Profession Council, and if you are registered with them, are you able to practice as a psychologist, a counselor, or any other designation that they give you? And that is what I want to address on this video. Firstly, let me start by just explaining to you what the professional bodies basically implies. They are established through the National Qualification Act, and they are recognized and registered through the SAQA, which is the South African Qualifications Authority. So what do these bodies do in particular? So the Health Professions Council of South Africa, HPCSA, it's one of those professional bodies. However, what is the most important thing to understand is that SAQA registers these professional bodies, and it has two categories of them. We've got what we call the statutory professional bodies and the non-statutory professional bodies. I'm going to start with the statutory professional bodies, which Health Professions Council is one of them. And this is not only the only statutory professional body that exists in South Africa. There are many. The legal fraternities have got theirs, CAs have got theirs. So many professional qualification, engineering, they've got theirs. So in health, we have our own professional body, which is established through the statutory or the law. So the National Qualification Act is the one that actually sort of is the foundational act that lead to the establishment of this professional body, guided also by the Health Professions Act. So the Health Professions Act basically is the one that gives you an understanding of the constitution of the Health Professions Council. What makes it statutory is because it is constituted by the Health Professions Act. In other words, it is established by the law. of the country. So the minister is the one who constitutes or who establish or who appoints the members of the council. So the Health Professions Council of South Africa has got not more than 16 member council that governs its activities, but also the council delegate or also establish what they call the board of the professions. So the boards are basically the bodies or the structures that oversee the activities of the different professions within the Health Professions Council. So psychology is one of the board that oversee the activities of psychology within the profession. So when you go to the Health Professions Council of South Africa, the HPCSA, the office in Pretoria, you are going to find the different boards, or even if you go to their website, that oversee the activities of the different professions. So the reason we call it statutory is because it is established by the Act of Parliament, by the law. The minister oversees it. It is established by the Act. It is established by the Health Professions Act of 1974. So what the HPCSA does. Hi friends, just a quick break. I know you're enjoying this program, but I just want to answer some few questions about people who still want guidance on how to access the book. You know what I usually recommend, that make sure that you get an ebook. An ebook, you can get it on Amazon and follow their process. Just click on the link below this video and then follow their process, and you'll be able to get the book. I like the ebook process with Amazon because it is instant. You buy the book, you get it immediately on your gadget. But if you are in South Africa and you want to get a hard copy posted directly to your home address without leaving your house, all you have to do, there's a link below this video from our printers who were kind enough to help us with distributing the book. All you have to do, click on the link, fill the form, and they will be able to communicate with you on how to get the book. Usually it takes about 72 hours to get the book to you, and many people have been getting their book, so don't be left behind. See the links below this video on how to get the books, whether on Amazon or for it to be posted to your home address. So don't waste any time. Many people are getting the book, so don't remain behind. Make sure you get your copy while there is still time. Don't wait for the last minute, because the book will actually share with you on how to also prepare for the application, what you have to do, tips that are necessary even before the selection process starts. So make sure that you get the book as quick as possible. Let's go back and enjoy the program. So the Health Professions Act basically was aimed at establishing the Health Profession Council and the professional boards to provide control over the education, training, and registration for practicing of health professions registered under this act, in order to provide the matters incidental thereto. So in other words, so what the act does, and the reason it's actually also constituted by the Health Act, with the Foundational Act being that one of the National Qualification Framework guided by the SAQA, is because the National Qualification Framework actually makes it very clear that the professional bodies, they need to cooperate with the National Qualification Act. In other words, the HPCSA, which basically is an act that governs the activities of the professional, the health professional, it needs to submit under the Quality Council that oversee those particular professions. For example, if you want to become a psychologist, if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a physiotherapist, an OT, whatever profession that falls under the health profession that is in higher education, the CHE, which is the Quality Council for Higher Education, is going to require cooperation from the body, because you must understand how they differ is that the Quality Council ensures the standard of higher education in terms of the training, what happens within the institution. But the professional body, what it does, it focuses on setting standard, registering professionals, and making sure that they stick to the standard of the profession. That's how they relate. This one looks at the standard of the profession. This one, the CHE, looks at the standard of the education that is offered by the higher education institution. So that is what HPCSA does. So basically, it is a statutory body that is constituted by the minister in order to oversee the profession of the health professionals and their training. So the question that most people ask me is, if I register with other professional bodies, for example, there are many professional bodies such as the Association for Supportive Counselors and Holistic Practitioners, the ASCHP, I think is one of the common ones that I get question about. There's also one called the ACRP, which I was part of, which is an association for Christian and religious practitioners. But there are other associations, and not all the associations that exist, they are professional bodies. Remember, to become a professional body, you need to apply to SAQA and be given a professional association or professional body status. They give you a number, you register with them. So not all the association. For example, there's an association, SISA, Ecological Society of South Africa, which is one of the biggest society in South Africa for psychologists. You know, there's also IPASA, which is Educational Psychology Association of South Africa, which is an association that oversees and advocate for the activities of educational psychology. So there are all these associations, but not all of them are registered as professional bodies. So if you want to become a professional body, you need to firstly register with SAQA, and SAQA will determine whether you are registering as a non-statutory professional body or as a statutory professional body. If you are a non-statutory professional body, like some of the ones that I've just mentioned, your ASCHP, ACRP, and counselors one, I mean, there are many. You know, there's one for counselors, there are one for different fields that exist out there. So they are non-statutory. So according to SAQA, a non-statutory body of expert practitioners applying to be recognized as a professional body by SAQA will be legally constituted entity registered with the CIPC, or as a non-profit organization, or they must register with the Department of Social Development as non-profit organization. And the membership is voluntary, and they are defined by the Memorandum of Incorporation. So these entities are non-profit companies, and so all they have to do to register, they just have to meet the criteria that SAQA will set for them when they apply on how to register as non-statutory professional bodies. So when you come across these particular organizations, ask them, how are they registered? Are they registered with SAQA? So HPCSA is actually one of the few health practitioners professional body in South Africa. There's one for pharmacists, there's one for nursing, the Nursing Council. So there are several ones which are constituted by, which are statutory. So the non-statutory bodies, they are there, they exist, they're a lot, they're recognized by SAQA. However, they are not part of the Health Professions Council. They are stand-alone professional bodies. The Health Professions Council is one of the statutory body, professional body, that is registered on the SAQA. There are not a lot, there are few, but I mean, for example, when you look at the Pharmacy Council, which is also a statutory body registered according to the Pharmacy Act. When you look at the Nursing Council, which is also registered according to the Nursing Act. So those are statutory professional bodies. They are recognized. The minister is the one through the Act of Parliament who established the council of those particular bodies. But when it comes to the non-statutory ones, they are governed by, or they are actually defined by the Memorandum of Incorporation, but they are also governed by the acts that govern whatever company registration that they are under, whether an NPO, NPC, whatever registration that they are under, they are just recognized by SAQA. So what does recognition by SAQA means? I think that's the most important part. Recognition by SAQA basically means they apply to SAQA so that they can firstly be recognized as professional bodies, and they exist. The main existence or importance of these professional bodies is it's basically a way to govern and control what we call non-HPCSA registered practitioners, also called informal practitioners. So they are not registered with the Health Profession Council, but to govern them, to have a structure, to be recognized, they develop their own professional bodies that are recognized by SAQA. So what SAQA does, in addition to recognizing them, it also approves their designation, because one of the aspect of being a professional body is that you develop what we call the professional standard of your profession, because professional bodies are made up of experts in a particular field, and you also register individuals in your field. You keep a record of them, but also you provide designation, you provide titles for those particular professional. For example, if you do psychology masters, for example, let's say you do a master's in educational psychology, master's in clinical psychology. When you go to graduate, the chancellor of that university, the person who put a cap on top of you, or endorse or authorize or ratify, rather, I think that's the correct word, ratify, to say, I confirm that you have a degree, a master's in psychology, master's in educational. That person does not make you a psychologist. They just confer to you. They just confirm and honor that you have qualified and you have got a degree in psychology, whether clinical, whether educational, whether counseling, but they don't confer that you are a psychologist. For you to become a psychologist, that designation, that title, you get it from the Health Professions Council. That is why after qualifying as a master's in clinical psychology, educational counseling, whatever, the HPCSA, you go to them. Then they tell you, for us to give you our title, they own that title. For us to give you our title, you need to go and do an internship for 1 year. You need to come and pay this amount and apply. These are our documents. So that is their process of designating you that particular title of a psychologist. So the person who can take away that title is the Health Professions Council, not your institution. Now, when it comes to this non-statutory bodies, remember, ASCHP, these are your ACRP, the one for Christian religious practitioners, and many other that exist out there. I'll take, for example, one that I have been part of, which is the ACRP, an Association for Christian and Religious Practitioners. I was part of that. If you look at their website, I mean, it's a well-established. So don't take this association or professional bodies which are non-statutory as less important. They've got a role, and SAQA established them for a particular reason. They wanted them to increase access, because they understood that professional bodies also, they've got a limitation, they've got an exclusion criteria, and there's a limitation of people who can have access to them. They decided to also recognize these professional bodies in order to ensure that people are being serviced around the country. So these professional bodies, don't take them lightly. They are also making a key and important role within the country. So what they do now, when you are recognized by SAQA, SAQA also authorize them to have a particular designation or professional designation titles that they can put upon or give to their practitioners or to their members. So let me take ACRP. ACRP, basically I joined it when I finished my MPhil in theology. So when I finished my master's and I was registered as a psychologist, before I did my PhD, I also did an MPhil in practical theology. The reason I did that, I wanted to also specialize, not just be a psychologist, but also do spiritual psychology. I wanted to get into where I can deal with the issues of the spirit and the psychology. I think I once shared with you on one of the videos where I said that I was very intrigued by some of the psychological disorders and their spiritual connotation or spiritual link. From my background as a Christian, as a believer, I saw that I could make an association with the things I've seen in church. And I also wanted to practice as a spiritual counselor. I wanted to also tap into the spiritual elements of counseling. And to do that, remember, education is very important. So I went to do practical theology, and I did an MPhil, which is a Master of Philosophy in Practical Theology. So when I finished, I also registered with this particular a non-statutory professional body. Why did I register with them? It gives me a network of professionals who work in that particular field. So what they do, they give you firstly their designation. If you go to their website, you will notice that they've got different designation that they have. If you go for affiliation and go to affiliation and designation, you will see they've got 4 designation that they can give you. So when you register with them, they can give you a designation of a religious practitioner, advanced religious practitioner, religious professional, religious specialist. So all these designations specify the level of qualification that you have, but also the level of knowledge that you have. If you go to this organization, majority of the people here, I mean, they are professionals in their field. I mean, if I were to go to, for example, if you check it, you go to their website, you will see that they are registered with SAQA, and SAQA will give them a registration number. So that's one thing that you need to check when you go to this non-statutory body. Are they registered with SAQA, and also registered as either NPC or NPO? So these are the information that you need to ensure that exist with the organization when you go there, to see that it's reputable, it's official. If it's not registered with SAQA, it's not recognized by the government or the country. It's not recognized in the country. So just be aware of that. And if you look at this one in particular, within them they've got different sections. So the one that I was under the Council for Pastoral and Spiritual Counselors. And if you go to the executive, for example, you will see that the executive members, these are Prof. Hubert, Dr. Mashiapata, Prof. Baloyi, and Miss Anita Sanders. So you could see that the people who are here are not just just common people. They are not just people just from the street. These are professionals in their own field. I mean, Mashiapata, you'll know. Those from UNISA will know him as the director of the counseling unit. Prof. Baloyi is one of the professors, I think was the head of department at UNISA in the theology department. So these are, I mean, people who are, I mean, big within their own profession, and these are the ones that oversee this particular profession. So it will give you, they give you their own designation. The other one that I can make an example of is the Association for Supportive Counselors and Holistic Practitioners. For example, if you go to their website, you will see they're also registered with SAQA, and they've got their NPC number there. And what is very interesting also about them is they give you the designation that they have. They've got supportive counselor, holistic counselor, wellness counselor, and specialist wellness counselor. So when somebody sees that, the question that might arise was, why are they using the title of a counselor, wellness counselor, while these titles are also used by the HPCSA? It is because we don't have that in HPCSA. So otherwise, SAQA will not have approved them. So you need to know the distinction. They are using wellness counselor. HPCSA, the only counselor they have, they've got what they call a registered counselor. So that is how you distinguish them. A registered counselor is from the Health Professions Council designation. Wellness counselor, holistic counselor, whatever, all these kinds of counseling, they are not HPCSA designation, which means if you register with these guys, they are going to give you one of these designation. They've been approved to be able to give you these titles. These are their titles. They give you to them because they've been recognized to use these particular titles. They can use the title of educational psychologist, industrial, research psychologist, and all that. Why? Because they are not their titles. They belong to the Health Professions Councils. So this is how they differ. They differ in a sense of all of them, they differ in a sense that all of them, they've got limitation, they've got powers in terms of designation they can give, but they are the same with regard to the fact that all of them, they are professional bodies. They've got standards that they develop. HPCSA, when you go to them, they've got standards, they've got CPD requirements. They want to ensure that all the people are trained, they're up to date. The same with all these professional bodies. When you go to them, they will have their own CPD, because why? SAQA requires them to do that. So we just differ in terms of the scope of work. For example, the Health Profession Council, because it is constituted by the Health Act, also it is recognized by the Medical Scheme Act, but also the medical scheme bodies. That is why when you are registered according to the Health Professions Council, the HPCSA, when you work, you can also claim from the medical aid. Somebody who works with the other non-statutory bodies, like the one that I've just showed you, they can do all their spiritual counseling, do all their spiritual work in church, wherever, but they cannot claim from the medical aid, although they can do what they are trained within their own field. However, they cannot refer to them as health professionals. They cannot refer to them with any category that is used by the HPCSA. That is why when you read actually the Health Professions Act, you will notice that it actually prohibits people from using the qualification that are within those who are registered under the Health Act or the Health Professions Act. So if you do that, it becomes illegal. You can actually become arrested. You are just any other person, like a bogus doctor out there. When you are in the corner with your honors in psychology, calling yourself a health wellness psychologist, you know, thinking that it's fun to do that, you are actually being illegal. You can't do that. So you need to stick within the area in which you are trained and make it clear to people that you are not a psychologist. You are just a wellness practitioner, a wellness counselor, whatever category that you have. So I wanted to share this with you just to give you an insight on the difference between the Health Professions Council and other professional bodies that are non-statutory. So I hope this has given you some insight in terms of the difference between statutory and non-statutory professional bodies. If you have enjoyed this video, I'm sure that you can enjoy the other videos that I've done. One of the videos that I've done which you might enjoy is the video about the psychology career path, because I'm sure you are watching because you are interested in the field of psychology. The second video that I've done is why you should consider a career in psychology. Watch these two videos because they're going to help you gain more insight about the field of psychology and how you can be able to follow psychology career field. Let me leave it there and continue living life to the fullest.